Kim with the Loafer. I know it's after hours, but here we got a special interview request, and we went ahead and do that. We've been doing a lot of political things this year with, a lot of the Congress seats, but we're actually interviewing for someone that's running for the state Senate seat. So I'm going to introduce you to Amber Riddle, and we're going to ask her a few questions. And if you have any comments, just put them on our page, and we can answer those the best we can, or after the video, or whatever we can do for that. Hey Amber, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for sitting down with me and meeting with me this afternoon.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
It's weather's nasty. Thanks for getting out. So, you're running for the state Senate seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to ask you a few questions, and you answer them. And if there's something that you want to add it. If there's something you don't want to add, then don't. Okay. Okay. So, what made you decide to run for the state Senate seat?
Well, so I'm a working class mom. I have several kids, 6 to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly busy, but I've worked in a restaurant since I was 18 years old. So I've done so many different jobs within the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And as a working class person, I had never felt represented
Okay.
by our officials, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And especially whenever you see, I was lucky that I had health insurance, but a lot of our coworkers, they didn't. And so I saw a lot of hardships come through the restaurants, among other things as well. But and these things need to be addressed, and they're excuse me, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not. And that was one of the main reasons why I decided to run, because so many people are forgotten and they're looked over.
Right.
And a lot of times they're looked down upon, depending on, if that elected official had even, not many I've known that have had to struggle, had to figure out which bill they had to pay that month, or which one they could skip, or, just to put food on the table, or, to choose between life-saving drugs or just barely living and just getting by. So
Okay, so it was more of a personal reason you wanted to run, for how you felt about things. Okay. Have you any kind of political background? Have you ever done? Is this the first time seat you ever ran for, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first seat that I've ever ran for, and it's been such an amazing journey.
Mm-hmm.
I've met so many people, and I've made so many friends along the way, and it's just been a learning experience as well. But so I don't have much of a political background, other than I helped campaign a little bit back in 2016, and then I've always been an activist.
Right.
So I've been in demonstrations since I was a teenager, and I've marched with various groups.
Okay.
Especially, before 2015, really pushing and advocating for same-sex marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a huge deal. And it's, it got passed, thankfully, and hopefully it stays that way. But, and so, just different human rights issues, and I continue to keep doing these things, even though I'm running, and even after I run, no matter what happens on November 3rd, I'll continue to keep pushing along or running for different things, just so I can finally get in there and make some change.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so what is the major 3 things that you would really want to change if you were elected to the seat?
Yeah, so on a national level, I don't really have much of a say-so with healthcare, but on the state level, most definitely expanding Medicaid, because what I said before was I may have been a lucky person that had insurance, but that's not always the case. It's very expensive for most people, and or even if your job allows you to have enough hours to qualify for insurance. And so expanding Medicaid would benefit so many different people. It would broaden the the requirements. So right now, under the state Medicaid that we have, It's mostly geared towards children, of course, which it should be. And then it's geared towards parents who have children.
Right.
So if you don't have a child, you don't get to qualify, whether or not you make a certain amount of money or not.
Right.
So you can be homeless and still not qualify for it. And that's terrible. And so with that Medicaid expansion, it would broaden those doors to cover people with insurance who don't have kids, who are men, because it's also geared towards a woman, you know. And so I know, like, the federal government, there's already things in place that would pay for the expansion. They just won't do it.
Okay.
And it's really out of spite because of who created the ACA. And, you know, they came out and they voiced their opinion pretty greatly on that issue. But
so what other two items that you would? I know you definitely on Medicaid for sure.
Yes.
So what would something that you're really passionate about that you really want to change if you got elected?
Revitalizing rural Tennessee.
Okay.
So rural Tennessee, you know, you have a lot of electives in Nashville who focus primarily on what the big cities are doing. And a lot of times rural Tennessee is forgotten too. So you have Mountain City, you know, it's all the way in the tip top corner.
Oh, I know. I used to live there. I lived there for 11 years, so I know.
It's so beautiful out there.
It is.
It's one of my favorite places to go, and has been on this campaign trail. So, and I love my Mountain City friends. But, you know, the first thing that they said to me was like, wow, you keep coming back. And they're like, nobody comes out here. And I'm like,
that's true. That's true. And I think with Mountain City too, they're very much a little bit behind times a little bit too. You know, I lived in Butler for 11 years before I got remarried and lived in Johnson City now. So, you know, up in Mountain City and Johnson County really needs some help.
Yeah.
A lot. And, you know, even though I don't live there anymore, I also have a lot of really good friends there. And I'm all about, you know, helping Johnson County and helping them. Of course, I have a mother-in-law and father-in-law there now, too. And I have 2 stepdaughters that live there part-time. So, you know, I'm all about trying to help Johnson County. And I think that's great that you would want to help that county because they really need it.
Yeah. So, you know, along the lines of what revitalizing rural Tennessee would mean is, first off, getting broadband pushed out there. There's no... When I go out there, I have no cell service.
Well, now, if you have Sprint or you have Verizon, you're good out there. But if you got AT&T or something like that, you might as well forget it.
I have AT&T. I went out there not too long ago and got caught in the rain. I could not find my way back home. Like, I was like, oh, man. And I finally did make it back to Damascus, Virginia. And I was like... And I finally got signal then to get back home, and I was like, I don't even know how to get. I was like lost on some back road.
It is. It's definitely different there.
So, yeah, I mean, which would automatically broaden the chances of people working remotely.
Right.
So remotely online, and it would also help. I mean, even during this time, like COVID. There's a lot of children, even out in Mountain City, that could not do their work online.
Right, and I totally understand that. You know, my daughter's always 14. She's in Washington County school systems now, and she has always been in Johnson County. It's a huge difference between Johnson County and Washington County. And, of course, we have been back in school until today, and we're back virtual as of today. She struggled with virtual. It was hard. But Johnson County is back in now. Both my stepdaughters are back in session there, and they want to go. They want to be there.
Yeah.
So, but you know, the smaller towns here really need the help.
They really do. Not only would it create a different kind of economy, you know, we look at jobs as we go into work and we work 9 to 5, or we work, you know, a certain set of hours and we're away from home, but there's so many jobs out there that could be brought out to people if we just expanded broadband. And, you know, that would open up doors for people with disabilities to be able to have a little, you know, have some extra income or whatever and stuff. But so that's one of the things. Another thing is Tennessee has spent $3 billion in corporate welfare in the past decade.
Okay.
Padding pockets of wealthy corporations that were doing fine without that money. That's our tax dollars. And I personally feel like our tax dollars should be working for us.
Wow.
So what I would like to do is look at that budget. We can literally reallocate those funds and put them more towards small business owners and farmers.
Wow.
And also like making sure that people can start their businesses easier or start a farm easier. Because our small businesses are floundering, and our farmers, like in Tennessee, I think the suicide rate for our farmers is going up. And then they're having to file bankruptcy. They're having to, I lost my train of thought. They're having to file bankruptcy, and then they're having to sell their land.